Welcome back, everyone. If you're a new subscriber, I welcome you. If you're an existing subscriber, welcome back. Today I am making a birthday card for my husband that my son will be giving him. And I tried a few different things with this one that normally are out of my comfort zone, but they worked. So let's get stuck into it. The stamps I'm using are from Lawn Fawn. It's High Five and You're a Keeper. Embossing folder is from Altenew and it's the 3D Hexagon blocks. And I really liked this embossing folder because I thought it resembled a beehive. And my husband, as some of you know, is a beekeeper. So I really wanted to make him something that he would really appreciate. Now one side is debossed and one side is embossed, or one side dips in, one side dips out. I can't really figure out the way to explain that any better. And what I thought I would do, because I wanted to resemble honeycomb, I thought I'm going to try spray it. I know people use inks and I'm going to have another video with all different ways to use embossing folders, but this one I thought I would spray it. The first spray I'm using is from Nuvo and it's a sparkle spray and the colour is Frosted Lemon. And I'm using it just with a navy blue cardstock that was in my stash, and I didn't spray or moisten the back of the cardstock because I thought the spray would do that for me. The sandwich I use for my platinum is the base and just a cutting plate on top. I found with this particular embossing folder that worked really well. When I used the embossing, the dark blue embossing plate, it was too much. So that's the effect that one gave me, and it is very pretty, but it's not exactly what I was looking for. And I thought, okay, well, what else can I try? Maybe it's the colour of the cardstock. So I grabbed a black piece of cardstock. But I wasn't overly happy with the colour of the spray. So I used a spray from Cadence. It's a shaken gilt spray and it's Altin gold. And this one you have to shake up a lot. The mica powder separates. So I had to really give it a good shake until all the colour looked consistent. And I thought I'll just sort of go a little bit lighter if I can with the spray and just see if that makes a difference. So I'm using the same sandwich. Again, I'm not moistening the back of my cardstock because the spray will do that job for me. And just running it through my machine. And I'll keep the other background for a future project. So that's the result of that one, and I liked it a lot better. It just seemed to pop more. I don't know if it's because of the black cardstock or if it was the gold colour of the spray, whereas the previous spray was more yellow. So I've cleaned my surface down, and now I'm going to start working on my stamped elements. So I'm just grabbing the bees that I want to use, which is pretty much, I think it was most of them, if not all of them. And I'm just going to stamp them out. And I'm going quite fast over this bit because you all know, if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I love using the Misty in case I need to restamp. And with bees, I wasn't sure if I would need to restamp or not because I wanted to get that nice black in their stripe. And I'm just got a few of the sentiments in there as well. And I'm going to my Memento ink in black because it's Copic friendly, and I love the Memento with Copics. It's a match made in heaven, I think. So I've just moved one of the sentiments and popped it in a different place. It didn't stamp out exactly how I wanted, but I thought it might have been too close for what I had in mind. So the two colours I'm using are Y19 and Y38. And I'm starting with the darker one just on the edges, and then I'm just blending it out with the lighter one. You don't really have to do a lot with the bees because the black is already there, so you just need to have that nice yellow colour. And then I'm also coming in with R20 for their cheeks, very tiny cheeks, and then B05 and B41 for the hat. One of them's got a party hat on, and one of them is blowing a little, I don't know what they're called. They're the little loud streamer whistle things. And I'm just getting out my little Heffy Doodle mini die cutting machine because it's just so much easier when you've got little things like this. And I'm not going to bore you with die cutting them all out. Through the magic of television, they're done. Ta-da! And for the sentiments, what I wanted to do was have it look like the bees were talking. So I have this die set from My Favourite Things, and it's called Essential Speech Bubbles. And it's nice and long, so I thought that'd be perfect. And I have not used this set before, so I've got to detach them from each other. And then just with those little bits of the metal that join together, you just wiggle it backwards and forwards with your pair of side cutters, and they come off nice and easily. I've got just like a little bin with a towel in it next to me so the little shavings don't go flying all over the room. And I just managed to stamp that one in the perfect place. I was actually able to put it into the speech bubble, which was lucky. I should have done it a little bit further up. So the same speech bubble is going to be fine for all 3 sentiments that I'm using. And the ones that I'm using are buzzing by to say, Happy Bee Day from the whole hive. So I'm just popping them into my little dish there. That's where I tend to keep all of the elements that I've die cut out and the small little dies as well, so they don't go missing on my table, which has happened before. So it wasn't quite dry yet, so I'm just sort of putting a bit of paper towel on there rather than getting my heat gun out. I wasn't sure how the spray would react to the heat gun, and I didn't need to be perfectly dry. I just needed it to be able to be worked with. I ended up with gold all over my fingers because I was too impatient. So I'm thinking I'm going to back it with a mirror gold piece of cardstock. And I'm just using the standard 8.5 by 5.5 card scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So it's your standard American A2 size. And my gold panel, I wasn't sure if I wanted to have a border of the white of the card around it as well, or just have the gold. And I opted for just having the gold. The white just threw the balance out for me. So I just need to trim my gold down to be 5.5 by 4 1/4. And it was actually a scrap that I used, so it was pretty perfect. So I'm just going to use tape runner to adhere this down. I know I sort of switch between glue and tape runner. It sort of depends on what's closest to my hands, basically. Glue gives you time to have a bit of wriggle room, but with this one it fits the base card exactly. So really I made it very easy for myself just to pop the base card into the corner of the MISTI and then pop the panel on top, and that way it's perfect every single time. If you've got a scoreboard, you can do the same thing in the corner of your scoreboard as well. So the black panel, I'm just trimming down to be 5 1/4 by 4. And I decided I just needed a little bit of elevation. So I'm just using some of my double-sided foam. This one's from Heffy Doodle, but they're available all over the place. I like this one because it is a little bit of a lower loft. I think it's 2mm instead of 3mm from memory. And because I'm not posting this, I'm quite happy just to use the foam tape. Otherwise, if I was posting it, because that embossed piece of cardstock is a bit softer, I would normally layer it up with a few pieces of cardstock rather than using the foam tape. And because I'm using foam tape, I'm also going to use liquid glue. I know it seems like overkill, but foam tape sticks instantly and you can make a right mess of things when you try and lift it back up. So by using the liquid glue, it gives me time, just a smidge of time, to wriggle it if I don't have it down exactly. And I am notorious for putting things down crooked, so I need all the help I can get. So I'm just going to place the words on here. And I have added, I didn't mention it before, I cut out 9 of those speech bubbles in total. So each speech bubble has 2 pieces of blank cardstock behind it. So it does have a little bit of height to it. And I've got them in the order of Buzzin' by to say. Then the middle one is Happy Bee Day. And then the one at the bottom, which is the Queen Bee, is From the Whole Hive. Oh, this is where I cut out the extra speech bubbles. I was a bit ahead of myself. I thought that they needed a little bit of elevation, because with the embossed background, you've got highs and lows in there because it's 3D. So I needed a little bit more support for my speech bubbles. I didn't want them to mimic the lumps and bumps of the embossed piece of card. So super easy, just attach them with glue. You can use tape runner. Or you could even use a piece of foam tape if you wanted to as well. I find it just as easy just to use up some cardstock strips. From when I catalogue all of my stamps and dies, I always have little strips of white card left over. I've got a whole box of them next to me, and they are generally what I use for sentiments and things like that. And also for testing colours out for the Copic colouring. They come in very, very handy indeed. So I'm just using the Snazzi Scrappin little foam dots because they are a low loft. They're only 2mm. And I've got some already on the backing that I've already cut into halves and quarters. So they're all ready to go for me. And reverse tweezers do come in very handy for this because some of these pieces of foam dots are very small. So it's actually quite a quick card, really. It came together very quickly. And it's very effective. So just to finish the bees off, I am just using some glitter glue, and it's the crystalline, so it's clear glitter glue, but it comes out in big blobs. So I just use my little pokey tool and just sort of maneuver the glitter glue around on the wings a little bit. If you're enjoying the video, please click like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Every subscriber helps, and it helps me to bring you more content as well. And there we go. Card is finished. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. And thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.